Hello and welcome to the Fostering Success Michigan webinar series, Getting to Know the FSM Higher Education Consortium. My name is Maddie Day and I am the Director of Outreach and Training for the Center for Fostering Success at Western Michigan University. Before we get started, I'd like to say a special thank you to our funders, the Kresge Foundation, the Havermo Foundation, and Western Michigan University for their continued support of Fostering Success Michigan. This webinar series focuses on the FSM Higher Education Consortium. As you can see on your screen, there are 17 campus-based support programs that serve students with experience in foster care in Michigan. While all of these programs have some common elements, this webinar series highlights some unique aspects for each program. Before we get started for this week's program, we will highlight just a few kind of common elements. So the first is the designated campus coach. This is a point person on campus that provides 24/7 life skills coaching. All programs also offer mentorship opportunities, peer community building opportunities, connection to campus champions. These may also be considered campus liaisons, often found in key departments such as financial aid, advising, and admissions on campus. Advocacy for students on campus and in the community, pre-college outreach and recruitment, and financial resources. You'll notice that there's an asterisk with financial resources because while all programs have some element of financial resources for students who are engaged in their program, these vary quite differently, and so we always want to encourage people to check out which financial resources will suit each student best. Today, we welcome the Ferris Youth Initiative at Ferris State University. And I'd like to say a special welcome to Jeanette and Nick, who are representing the Ferris Youth Initiative today. Hi, guys.
Hi, Maddie.
For our listeners, as you can see, we do have contact information for Jeanette and Nick on the screen. We will show this again at the end of the broadcast, but we always like to remind folks that if you have specific questions, issues, or concerns regarding the program or a student who may be looking at the program, you can always reach out to the program directly using their contact information here. So let's get started. Our first question that we have today is about eligibility requirements. And so as our viewers can see on the screen, we have some general eligibility requirements. Jeanette and Nick, I'm hoping that you can share a little bit about eligibility specific to the Ferris Youth Initiative, and then maybe go into some of the supports that Ferris as an institution offers to students who may fall outside of that eligibility.
Okay, with Ferris State University Ferris Youth Initiative, we work with students that have experienced foster care as an adolescent and into later adolescence. And what we do is we assist students from the very onset of looking at a college. We do a lot of pre-marketing, a lot of pre-admissions work. We have an admissions application. We also work with individuals that provide support to our program to determine whether or not a student meets the eligibility. And with that, I work a lot with students that are visiting initially to how do I apply to Ferris, how do I get the like pre-admissions, the ACT, the SAT, transcripts in, all the way through admission into our program. So there's a lot of initial support helping students as they're looking at Ferris State University and the Ferris Youth Initiative.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think, it's really great for students to understand that your program has been around for a long time and has some longevity in serving a variety of student populations, but particularly students with experience in foster care. And you, as an institution, have really done such a great job with kind of rallying your campus around students with experience in foster care, and that there's quite a broad level of support for this population of students on campus. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Our next question is if you could share some highlights about the Ferris Youth Initiative. Of course, we have some program pictures here. These look super fun. I know I have definitely been a part of several different events that you guys have held over the years. So just tell us a little bit about some of the fun things and great resources that students and prospective students can expect when they engage with the Ferris Youth Initiative.
Well, one thing we do right from the get-go is try to get our students connected with each other. So we have a really nice welcome event where we also include our faculty and staff mentors, and they get a chance to break bread together, have a luncheon together, and then we all, following that, the students meet, and this is before classes start. The students meet and they do a really dynamic recreational event, and it involves a lot of team building, kind of getting to know you activities. And then one thing I work with the students on is getting connected with me as a campus coach right off the bat. So I'll schedule initial appointments so they feel that welcome, that connectedness. And then Nick can share a little bit about some of the events that we've done and a little bit about our mentoring program.
Yeah, so throughout the year, we look to find ways to engage our students, not only on campus, but off. We go to Grand Rapids, we go on horseback riding. We find ways to kind of get out and enjoy what West Michigan has to offer. And then a huge component of our program is mentoring piece. We pair our students up with just one mentor to one mentee. It's individual, and it's someone who works here at the institution. It's not a student. To help that person break down barriers. If you're having concerns with financial aid, or you're not sure where to go to get a flu shot, or what's going on, or you're feeling lost, that faculty staff member is there to help that student find their fit here and help break down those barriers to being successful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I was actually just making some notes and of the highlights that you guys have, because I think that they're really important just to underscore that students who are engaged with Ferris, one, making that immediate connection to Jeanette, you as a campus coach, so that students don't kind of get lost in that initial shuffle of like, I'm coming to campus and what's going on and who do I turn to. So they have a supportive person from the very beginning, and it sounds like probably even before they get there, there's a lot of work to make sure that they know who you are and where they can find you, and that you really make an effort to engage students on campus, but also in the larger community, which I think for many students with experience in foster care, having the opportunity to go out and visit other places, explore West Michigan, probably doesn't happen as easily. And so being able to do that while you're engaging in your campus experience, I think, is a huge benefit. And then lastly, you mentioned the mentorship, and I think it's a great highlight to add. While every program has a mentorship or offers connection to mentorship opportunities, you guys have really made an effort to leverage your campus staff and faculty in ways that provide both this one-on-one mentorship piece, but also kind of provide a network. So I know from talking with you all over the years, getting to know some of your students, that your students are very well mentored and also very well connected to kind of some of the people that you should know, maybe in high up places for sure, across the campus. And I think that makes for not only a great mentorship experience, but also another level of feeling like they belong on campus. So just a really great...
I would add, if you're thinking about coming to Ferris, reach out to Jeanette. She's been our only life coach that we've had for the last 5 years, and knows folks around campus and really wants to help you from your interest through graduation. And that's something that is really unique, because it can be lonely. We know caseworkers sometimes change, counselors change, people forget about you, but when you can connect with Jeanette, and even before you apply to the institution, we're here to help.
Thank you for adding that. I think that's great, because having that one person can make the difference in the college access pipeline. And so I know Jeanette is always very eager to work with students, and really, very much interested in helping students find their best fit, where they are on campus with different activities. So definitely for anybody that's listening out there with prospective students, I would say it's probably not too early to reach out, and just, start that dialogue, get to know kind of what you need to know to be ready, so that you can start that process and, probably lower some of that anxiety about what is the college access pipeline going to be like for you if you're looking at Ferris.
Absolutely.
And one thing we've been able to do also is connect the pre-student with admissions to do a campus visit, because even if they make a decision that not to attend college at this time or to look at another school, getting that campus visit is so important. They have to feel that they not only belong at the university, at the program, but in the community they're going to reside in. So we work closely with our admissions department. They're wonderful, and pre-campus visits are always welcome.
Awesome. Well, and I think that is a great lead-in to hearing a little bit about what's special for Ferris State as a university, and knowing that, of course, you do this sort of extra special kind of connection with admissions is definitely one piece about that. So can you share a little bit more about what students should know if they're looking at Ferris as an institution?
Yeah, I think we have a lot that makes every school unique, and Ferris is no different. But for us, one of the things I would encourage foster youth, or if you're looking at our program, is to really look at the number of two-year degrees that we have, the number of associate degrees that offer some really well-paying jobs on at graduation. I think a lot of students can get overwhelmed at 4 years of college. What am I going to do? I barely made it through high school. And look at the hundreds of associate's degrees that we offer, from heavy equipment to fermentation to accounting, things that you could come to school for 2 years and graduate and make $50,000, $60,000 starting is outstanding. The other thing that I think really is helpful, and I would challenge someone to find another school that offers this as well, is we have real professors in our classroom. We do not have graduate assistants. These are industry experts that are coming back to relay that knowledge on, that have been in the field, that have connections, that want to help you and want to see you succeed. Graduate assistants don't teach any classes at Ferris State University. It's always real professors. And I think in the future we'll see the student-to-teacher ratio, and that's true. You will not be in a class with hundreds and hundreds of people trying to turn things in. And something really unique about Ferris is we're the only school named for our founder. Woodbridge Ferris began this institution as a place for people to come to school. His motto was education for all the men, all the women, all the children of Michigan. And this is a program that we know he would get behind. He was notorious for talking about how you make the world better, or to make the world a better place, is one of his famous lines. And we truly believe that this is a program that Mr. Ferris would be a mentor in if he was still alive, and that it is really carrying on his legacy here at the institution.
And then a couple of things I'd add about the Ferris Youth Initiative is, we are very fortunate to have the support of administration. We have administrators that are our mentors, and then we also we're a scholarship-based program. So we're able to offer at this time financial assistance, which is wonderful for our students. And then when I talk about the mentoring, I guess the wonderful thing that is of help to me and all our students is that individuals come from all areas across campus. So we have our campus champions and admissions, financial aid, residence life, administration such as with Nick. It's just a wonderful, diverse program that has a lot of support offered to our students.
Wonderful. I think it's always really important, and this is one aspect that I really like to bring up when talking with prospective students about Ferris, is that you all are a TIP Phase 1 and Phase 2 school. And Nick, you touched on the high number of quality 2-year degrees that you all offer. And I think that alone is a reason that people should really consider Ferris and think about, maybe you're not sure if college is for you, but, if you start and you can, get a 2-year degree, get one of the those degrees that are in high demand right now. We know we always hear about kind of the skills gap that we see here in Michigan. It's a huge benefit, and I think knowing that students can have the opportunity to do that, and then if they decide to continue on, they're also able to do that as well, to pursue a four-year degree. That's, to me, one of the just really kind of standout features of Ferris. I think the highlight about students being taught by experts, prospective students may not fully understand the benefit that that is, but that's a huge benefit, knowing that the person who is teaching you about the subject really is a content expert. And then I love the kind of education for all sentiment, and I would absolutely agree that the Ferris Youth Initiative is an exemplar of that statement of what sounds like the founder's kind of mission and vision for the institution. And I would say that the diversity that you see as far as the diversity of programs that are available, experiences that are available for students at Ferris really kind of live out that mission or that vision for education for all. So again, you know, for anybody out there who's listening who may be interested but may not be sure, you know, if a four-year program is right for them, there are a lot of options, and I think Ferris is one of those institutions that packages a variety of options with just a tremendous amount of support.
Absolutely.
So one of the next slide that we have, and Jeanette, you kind of led into this a little bit, is about the tuition and cost of attendance. And so we have some information here on the screen, but I would love to hear from you all kind of about the cost of attendance at Ferris, what students can expect as far as what they might need to be ready to pay for as far as out-of-pocket expenses, if there's any additional scholarship support. And Jeanette, you mentioned that there is a scholarship component with the Ferris Youth Initiative, so maybe if we can hear a little bit about that. And then just any other aspects regarding tuition and cost of attendance that students should have in mind when they're considering Ferris.
Yeah, so thanks, Maddie. Our Ferris Youth Initiative program is not just mentoring and life skills. The third prong, and what most students are excited about, is a $4,000 a year scholarship, or up to $4,000 a year scholarship that we offer for coming into the program. And because we know it takes time to meet with Jeanette and meet with your mentor and come to our meetings, and we want to keep that incentive there. One of the great things that a large number of our foster youth coming in are TIP Phase 1 eligible. That's paying for a vast amount of their associate's degree program. And we have over 1,000 TIP Phase 1 students here at the institution. We know how to work with those students. We know how to make sure that you're moving towards successful completion of an associate's degree, so you can make an informed choice of whether or not to continue or not. And then from there, I've encouraged students to get onto our website, ferris.edu, and look at what some of the merit-based scholarships are out there. We have scholarships for students that just have good, what I would consider, like, I was a good student in high school and had a good SAT score. We have a large number of our students that are qualifying for merit-based scholarships that renew every year. Not to mention Pell that comes in, Fostering Futures, which is through the Michigan Education Trust, that we'll work with you to try to apply for. Your educational training voucher. Jeanette does a ton of work with students and probably can take over and talk about what she does with ETV.
One thing I do with ETV is I work closely with the students on developing a budget, because we know even as adults that can be challenging. So many times I try to work with them like that first week of school, to sit down and it's hands-on learning. It's like, okay, this is what you're looking at for the semester. And one thing we do at Welcome Weekend, we give them a complimentary ETV booklet for them to keep all their receipts in, because that in itself is a hands-on learning. And try to assist them in terms of really looking at, what are my expenses? What do I need? What is secondary? You know, even with transportation, maybe going home over break, if they're going to get a bus pass, if they're going to need, you know, additional funding while they're home. So really looking at how can we help them manage their funds in a smart way, and that's also conducive to them while they're a student.
And Maddie, the last thing I just want to make sure that we're clear is there's a lot of scholarship opportunities, but it is likely students may incur some out-of-pocket costs. But on our core team is a financial aid advisor. She works with everyone. She's the person that does independent student verification. So she's familiar working with foster youth. She knows how to shake every money tree out there to get all the free dollars. But if it does come down to looking to loans, we have someone who knows what they're doing and is an easy access. We give students her direct line. Jeanette knows how to get a hold of her very quickly. So even if it does come down to an out-of-pocket cost, we're here to help support and walk you through so you can make informed choices on how much to borrow if you need to.
We've also been able to connect students with outside resources. Many of our students have received the Big Family of Michigan, which is now the Bravo Scholarship, and additional scholarships that are available on a national basis. So it's kind of, letting them know what's out there and assisting them in finding it, but also, kind of brainstorming on, what does a cover letter look like? How do I do my resume for it? And help them find their voice so that they can look at some alternative funds.
Awesome. I think one of the pieces that I hear again and again is that you all are so good at leveraging both the internal and external resources that I think students probably know that, with one stop to Jeanette's office, they're going to be well connected, and that I would say probably 99% of their questions, there will be an answer or a connection that will help them find an answer. And I think, we know that finances are one of the biggest barriers to our students thinking about college. Often they think, oh, there's no way I can attend, I don't have the money. Knowing that there is a scholarship attached with the program. And I really like what you said initially, kind of incentivizing that engagement, understanding that time is money for all of us. And so providing that scholarship support to help them prioritize engagement in the program makes a ton of sense. And it sounds like, that engagement with the program, while you talked a lot about the fun activities, I'm sure that there is a lot of fun, you're also talking about real life and, in real time skill building. And so those budget pieces are just so essential, not just for, success in college, but success long term. I love that you kind of do sort of a 360 holistic planning, looking not just what do you need to get through this semester, but when you have breaks, when you have when you have holidays, what are you going to need to move through those times and make sure that you have enough money to do the things that you need to do, whether it's, go back to your home county, stay somewhere, have break housing, etc. And then lastly, I want to underscore the piece that you said about the merit scholarships. I think this is something that often we don't mention, and probably there's a lot of assumptions on our part that somebody is mentioning this, but just letting students know that they can go to ferris.edu and look up merit scholarships and see what they might qualify for. And we really just want students to make sure that, when you're looking at a institution, that you really pursue kind of all avenues for funding, and that there's a lot of money that we know often gets left on the table. And it sounds like you all have support, to help students if they need to, maybe write letters or get, references or that kind of thing to help them become competitive applicants for some of those scholarships. And then again, I'll just highlight the connection that you all have to financial aid advisors. That's a piece that I think people kind of forget that you can tap into even before you step onto campus. You can start talking with them, working with them to understand, what does this mean in my financial aid package? How do I make sure that I stay qualified for these things? And I know, you all kind of work very seamlessly with your champions on campus. And so I would imagine, again, if a student or a supportive adult is confused about where to start, the best answer is probably start with Jeanette and go from there. So thank you so much for that information. I think it really helps to kind of demystify, the financial burden that students may think comes along with college.
I agree.
So our last question for you all is really your opportunity for a humble brag. And we love doing this anytime we have a webinar, hearing kind of some of the warm fuzzies, the good things, the cool things, or just the things that we might not know unless we asked. So we would love to hear 3 things that we should know about Ferris and the Ferris Youth Initiative. And I will say this, if you go over 3, that's okay too.
Sure. So the first thing I think that's we're always excited about is we celebrate success. We do twice a year. We have graduation ceremonies for students receiving associate degrees and bachelor's degrees. We hand out medals to those students to wear across stage. We try to get at Ferris commencement. Our president normally highlights a couple of students at each ceremony, and we push hard to have our students talked about. But we celebrate that success. We celebrate internships. We know life is hard, and college is hard and grueling and punishing. And so we really take that time to celebrate when things are going well. It's not uncommon for us to go out to dinner off campus at a nice restaurant to celebrate that graduation. And now we're even really pushing with associate's degrees and acknowledging that's hard work. And you have the choice to leave, but you chose to stay and move forward.
And we're very fortunate. It's really exciting. Our mentoring team got an Outstanding Team Award. And with that, there was an opportunity to open up a student pantry. So we have, right now, we have the availability to provide some of those much needed items. It could be pillowcases, sheets, bedding, shampoo, you know, just day-to-day living things. And that's really awesome because the university has supported us with being able to do that. And also with, you know, going back to our mentoring team and our mentors and students, our mentors are involved in so many of the activities that our students are involved in. We sometimes have get-togethers, and you might have a student climbing a rock wall at an event, and you got the mentor right there with them. So it's a lot of individual support, fun activities, and it's not just happening on the campus, it's happening out in the community too.
Yeah, and Maddie, the last thing I would add is right now we've never pushed past our enrollment of 20 or 25 students. So for better or for worse, we know who you are. And we want to work. These are students that we try to connect to leadership opportunities. It's typical that we have a student working in the president's office and throughout campus. And so when you come into our program, we know you. And you're not a number. We want to see you succeed. We want to see Mike succeed. We want to see Matt succeed. We want to see Alicia succeed. And we get to know them very intimately and vice versa.
Awesome. I actually don't know if there could be a better, you know, sort of endorsement of your program than to say, if you come here, we will know you, and we will make sure that we see you and we follow you to success. I think that's a pretty exemplary thing to say, and one that you know, is probably a unique experience for some of the students who are coming into your program. I love, you know, you guys talk about celebrating success. You know, I know from lots of conversations over the years that you guys really walk that talk of celebrating success. And so having students who you know, highlight, students that you, you know, promote not just, you know, through Ferris, but also through the FSM network and through other avenues, just to say, hey, this student, you know, they accomplished this, they're a part of this, and not just that they accomplished these things at Ferris, but here's what they're accomplishing and continuing to accomplish. You know, you've had really some standout students who have gone on to do some amazing things, you know, graduate assistantships and internships in Washington, D.C., and so I think there's quite the legacy that your students are leaving, and I would say that it's probably a legacy that really stems from that last statement that you made, Nick, that these students really felt known and they felt supported toward their success, and understanding that they didn't have to be perfect, and that they had, you know, not only Jeanette, but also mentors around them, a campus community around them. and that really kind of helped to, and it will help for future students, propel them toward their goals and their success. So thank you so much for sharing. It's always so wonderful to hear about, you know, the things that you all have going on your campus, and I think really exciting to think about what you guys offer for future students. And for anyone, again, who might be interested, or, you know, if you have questions about some of the information that was presented today, please do not hesitate to reach out to Jeanette and Nick. As you can tell, they're very enthusiastic. They care about you. They want the students who come to Ferris to succeed, and, you know, are really committed to making the Ferris Youth Initiative a positive experience for every student who is a part of this. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this webinar today. It's been wonderful to have you.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you, Maddie. Have a good day.
Thank you. The last thing that I'll say is that we do have some general resources. As always, we have our FSM Higher Education Resource Guide. You can find that and more information about the Higher Education Consortium on our website, fosteringsuccessmichigan.com. Our Fostering Success Michigan Higher Education Consortium has gone social, and so you can follow them and some of the activities that are happening in their programs on Facebook. And then last but not least, please be sure that you check out the Ferris State University website and the Ferris Youth Initiative website. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you join us on a future webinar. Bye-bye.